In this video, I want to talk to you about one of the simplest, easiest things you can do to make yourself a better conversationalist. And at the same time, I'm going to teach you a sort of theoretical concept about communication and try to pull it all together. I'm Bruce Lambert from How Communication Works. This is a channel where I teach you about communication skills so you can improve your relationships, succeed at work, and be more confident. So I think that conversation is the key to relationships, and being good at conversation means you're going to have better friendships because people are going to want to reach out to you. People are going to enjoy being with you, and your own life will be better because I think there's really nothing more enjoyable and more rewarding and fulfilling and amusing than a good conversation with a friend. So I have a good friend named Kevin. He's my oldest friend. He's my best friend. I've known him for like 40 years, something like that, maybe even longer, 42 years, something like that. And he and I have great conversations. And I was thinking, what is it about our conversations that makes them particularly interesting? And I remember one day, I often talk to him when I'm walking around the neighborhood. I've got my AirPods in and I'm talking to him. And I remember he sort of went off on a tangent. He started talking about something random and pretending he was something that he wasn't, just going off on a flight of fancy, as we say. And I just went along with it. I didn't pause. I didn't stop. I didn't challenge him. I just went along with it. I just followed the path of wherever his random thought was going. He sort of made a bid to go off on this flight of fancy. And I said, yeah, I'll go along. Of course, I didn't say that explicitly. I just went along. And now I can't even remember what the particular flight of fancy was. It was just a random tangent where he was pretending that he was something that he wasn't in a way that was funny. And I just went along with it. And there was no need for us to negotiate this. We've just been friends for so long and talking for so long that it was easy to go along with it. He probably expected that if he brought this up that I would play along. And I think this idea of playing along with our friends in a conversation is the key to being a better conversationalist because it welcomes them. It makes them feel more comfortable. It accepts them. And also it's fun and allows you to pursue these random tangents and see where they will go. It's based on or related to a concept from improvisation. So when people learn improvisational theater or improvisational comedy, they learn this principle called yes and. And that means when you're doing a comedic scene, an improv scene with another actor or another comedian, they start to portray a character or take the scene in a particular direction. And if you want the improv to go smoothly, you have to go with them. You have to say yes and. So the yes part is accepting the line they're taking, the direction, the flight of fancy, and the and is you add something to it. So this principle of yes and is critical in a good conversation also. If you like my style of teaching, I'm in the middle of preparing a course on listening called The Listening Leap. There's a link in the description, and if you click on that link, it'll take you to listeningleap.com where you can download a free 10-page PDF listening guide. It's a great way to sign up for the waiting list and also support the channel. Thanks a lot for checking it out. And it relates to this idea of Erving Goffman's. Those of you who have watched a lot of my videos know that I'm very influenced by this 20th century sociologist named Erving Goffman. And he said the social world was like a stage. We're all like actors on a stage, playing roles, presenting versions of ourselves in the drama of the social world. He said, or his theory of the social world was called the dramaturgical theory of the social world, which is just a fancy social science way of saying that the world is a stage, we're all playing roles, and we're all engaged in performances. But related to this is a concept from Goffman called a line. And the line is a pattern of verbal and nonverbal behavior through which a person expresses their view of a situation and their evaluation of the participants, including themselves and other people. So a line is a way of acting in a situation which dramatizes who I am and who I think you are and what I think we're doing. So all of these things is what Goffman would call a line. Think of it as a line of action or a line of performance. And we sometimes, this creeps into our everyday colloquial speech when we say someone is out of line. So out of line sort of means that they've departed from what would be normal or expected or accepted in a given situation. But the reason that saying yes and going along with a friend's or conversational partner's random tangent or flight of fancy is so welcoming and useful is because it endorses the other person's line of action, meaning it accepts the version of themselves that other people are offering to you, even if it's a fantastical one, meaning it's engaged in fantasy, not exactly real. And so when we accept someone's line, the version of themselves, the version of the situation that they're spinning, we are being accepting of them as a person. And it's a very warm and welcoming and generous thing to do in a conversation. And if they're a good conversationalist, then you can spin out a random tangent or a line of action, and they will accept it. So this mutual generosity, this mutual willingness to accept one another's line of action, to accept who we are in this moment, even if we're just on a random tangent, or even if we're engaged in a kind of fantasy and pretending we're something that we're not. It's all in fun. The conversation is like an adventure, a drama that we're both engaged in, and that we're both accepting, and we're both seeing where it goes. And conversation is just much more fun when we don't know where it's leading. And people aren't going to be willing to engage in these flights of fancy and these adventurous digressions if they don't think you're going to accept their line, if they don't think you're going to say yes and to the strange tangents that they take. And I'd really love to hear from you in the comments. If you have conversations like this, if you know what I'm talking about, I feel like it's hard to articulate exactly what this is because it's kind of a strange thing that happens in the moment. But I think it's critical to being a good conversationalist. And when I've said things before on TikTok and on YouTube about the importance of accepting another person and accepting their version of the world and accepting the identity that they're presenting to themselves, I'm always surprised that I sometimes get pushback. And the pushback is that people want to call each other out. So this idea of call out culture, the idea that we should constantly be censoring or auditing or checking on or criticizing or monitoring the things that other people say. I think this is a bad vestige of some of the way that we were behaving in the 2010s, when everyone was just criticizing one another. Everyone was ready to jump on everything another person said, to police their language. And of course, this may be necessary sometimes when people are using really inappropriate or abusive or foul or derogatory language. We may want to police it. But in friendships, I just think this is pointless. You know, people would say, well, I can't just accept my friend because I might need to call them out. I might need to call them out, or I might need to call them out on their misbehavior. And I think, what are your friends like? Are your friends the sort of people that really you need to call them out all the time? Do you want your friends to just audit you and censor you and police you and monitor you? This is not friendship. Aristotle said the truest kind of friendship is one based on shared values, shared virtues. We have transactional relationships, business relationships, and even some interpersonal relationships are transactional, where I give in order to get, you give in order to get. But there are true friendships, which are based on a commonality of values, a shared sense of what is good and what is right. And in that kind of friendship, I can't see that we're going to spend a lot of time calling each other out and policing each other's language. Instead, it should be this opposite. We should always be sort of assuming that our other friend shares our sense of what's good and virtuous and valuable, and therefore we can follow them on these flights of fancy. So there you have it, a simple idea about how to be a better conversationalist. Play along. Go along. Say yes and to your friends, and your conversations will be so much better. And let go of the need to be censorious. That is, the need to censor or police or audit or monitor other people's speech. It's really not a lot of fun to have a conversation with someone who's interested in doing that. And people who want to do that to me, I just avoid. So play along. Say yes and have better conversations. So please tell me, what is it like in your conversations with your best friends? Who are the best conversationalists? What goes on in those conversations that makes those conversations especially enjoyable? And if you can think of examples of what I'm talking about, where you said yes and to your friend in a conversation, please share them in the comments. I want people to get a better grasp of what I'm talking about. If you like my style of teaching, I'm developing a listening course called The Listening Leap. There's a link in the description and in the cards and in the end screen. You just go to listeningleap.com and get on the waiting list, and we'll let you know more about when the listening course is ready. And if you just sign up for the waiting list now, you'll get a free 10-page PDF listening guide. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.